Hey guys, Josh Fletcher again. This time I'm going to teach you guys about arrays, and I'm going to teach you about the Applescript library. So firstly, once again, just pop open Applescript editor so we can get started here. You'll remember last time I told you there were the three different types of variables. You have strings, you have numbers, and you have arrays. Now if you'll remember, strings are anything with quotations. Numbers are basically numbers by themselves, not numbers in quotations, because that would be a certain type of string. But numbers just by themselves. And arrays is the one that I didn't talk about. Arrays are a little bit more complex. Arrays are basically a list of strings and numbers. And so if you want to set an array, you would do it like this right here. You would go set the array, is what I'm going to call this variable, to let's say you're going to go open squiggly bracket, and then you're going to go string 1, close quotations because that's the end of the string, comma, outside of the string, quotation string 2, string 2, string 3, and then so on. And then close squiggly bracket. So this is what an array is going to look like. So if we do return the array, then right down here we're going to see our array here. And so we can also set a variable. So let's say set the variable to string 1. And then rather than saying string 1, because all it wants is a string, and so since this variable is a string, we can say the variable. We don't have to actually put in a quotation. We can use variables in an array. And so now if we return the array, we're going to get the same thing again, string 1, string 2, string 3, because the variable is string 1, and we're going the variable string 2, string 3, and so on. And so we can also, variables are not strings, and so we can't use them in functions that require strings, but we can take items out of an array. And so right here you have, this is going to be item 1 of the array, this is item 2, item 3, and item 4. And so what we can do is we can go set item 4 to item 4 of the array, and then return item 4, and it's going to give us so on, because so on is the 4th item of the array. And so this is a string, this isn't an array anymore, because we selected one of the strings out of the array. And so this is basically how arrays work. They're a bit special when you're working with repeat blocks, but I'll make sure to get into that in one of the tutorials down the line. So anyways, these are basically arrays for dummies right here. And so now I want to talk a bit about the Applescript library. So you can see all the basic libraries by going Window, Library. And so these are the basic libraries, and of course you can add another one if you just go into Applications and choose an application here. Or you can open a dictionary. They're called dictionaries over here, but this is called the library over here. So you can open a dictionary, and then it'll let you choose one of the applications. So we're going to start, let's go back into Finder again. So I'm going to double click Finder here. And so this is the Finder dictionary. And so just like a regular dictionary, it shows us that the verbs, and then let's see if we can find some nouns here. It shows us the nouns and all that good stuff. So we can actually use this to teach ourselves Applescript. So if we want to learn how to do something for something like Microsoft Excel that we need for just a certain program, or mail, or iDVD, anything, any scriptable application, which is anything that will show up when you do this. It sorts through all your scriptable applications right here. And so if you're doing a project in any of those, you want to open up the dictionary for it and take a look in there. So let's right now in Finder, and remember, if any of the functions in this dictionary, we're going to have to nest into a tell block where we're telling Application Finder, or else it won't work. That's one of the specifics about libraries. And so let's tell application finder, what should we do here? Let's make. And so we're going to start by doing make because it's the verb. We have to give Applescript some verb. We can't start with the noun. You're not going to start a sentence with a noun. And so let's go make, and then so we can make new. So let's go make new, and then it wants a type. And so some type of a file, a folder, it wants us to specify. So let's, right now it wants to say make new album, it's looking like, but let's say make new folder. And then we have to go at and location specifier. So let's go at, you guys don't know how to do locations yet, but for now, just put path, just put path to desktop in parentheses. And then we can go to, so this would be when creating an alias file. We're not creating an alias file, so we don't want that. With properties, so we can name it, but we don't want to name it right now. We don't want to get into that. So let's go here, and then let's see if it'll make, it should make one called untitled folder because we didn't give it our name. So let's run this, and there we go, untitled folder right there, and we can run it again and again and again, and it'll give us more and more folders. And so that's basically an intro to library scripting. And so we looked into the library and we taught ourselves. And so the whole idea of Applescript is that it's simple enough to where you can teach yourself for the different applications that you're going to be working with. So anyways, that's an intro to application scripting. One of the greatest dictionaries is the Standard Editions Dictionary. And so this has a bunch of the functions that you're going to be using all the time. And Standard Editions, one of the special things about it is that you don't have to nest them in a tel block. And so right here, one of the most used functions, hands down, in all of Applescript, no matter what the program is that you're making, is going to be display dialog. One of the biggest ones. And so how we use it right here, it tells us we go display dialog and then text. And so text is just another word for a string. So it wants a string. It doesn't want a number, it doesn't want an array, it wants a string. So let's go display dialog, display dialog, and let's give it a string. So this is a string. So let's compile, run, and bam, here we are. So display the dialog, this is a string. So whether or not we press OK or cancel, it's not going to matter right now, but OK, and then it tells us button returned OK, because this is the result of the script, was button returned OK. And so let's go on to add some stuff to this. We're not going to do default or hidden answer right now, because those are both for user input, and I'll go over that later in the script. But so right here, buttons. So let's go buttons, and then it wants a list of text. And so a list of text is just another word for an array, like we just learned. And so in Applescript, you can have up to 3 buttons. So the array can only be 3 items long. So let's go button 1, button 2, button 3. And then we're going to close the array. Now we're going to run this, and this is a string, and then it gives us button 1, button 2, button 3. And it's, the result of the script is button returned, button 2. And so we can also set a default button, and it's asking for text or integer, so it either wants the name of the button that we're going to default or the number of the button. And so we would either be the first item, second item, or third item. So let's make it button 2. Default button, and then we're going to give it the integer, which is another name for a number, 2. So we run this, and we have default button 2 right here. And so of course you could add, you could specify which button will cancel, which will basically quit the script. Specify the title, icon, and giving up after is when it will time out. And so you would do that giving up after, and then you would put a number. But anyways, I want to get into the default answer, which will give us, it'll let the user input text. So we're going to go display dialog, this is a string, default answer, put something here. And so you always want to do it in order. So it says display dialog, you want to do display dialog with text first, and then you put default answer, so that's why I put this in here. And then you do buttons, So I put buttons next, and then you do default button. And so then I would do cancel button after that, and then title after that, icon after that, giving up after if I was going to do all those things, but I'm not. So now we run this, and we go button, and so now it gives us text returned and button. So let's actually enter some text this time, so let's go ASDF. And then button 2. So it gives us text returned, ASDF, button returned, button 2. And so this is the result of the script. This is the result of the last command that was run, which is this line right here. And so if we want to, we should set a variable to all this so that we can actually derive the text returned. So I'm going to say set the result to right here. And so I'm going to put this whole thing in parentheses because so that it looks at it all as one, or else it would say set the result to display alone, and then it would say what's all this stuff doing after it. So I'm putting it in parentheses so that it'll look at this whole thing as one piece. So I do that, and so now once again it'll just show me down here text return because it's showing the last thing that was done. And so then if you look at this looks a bit like an array right here with our open close squiggly brackets, but it's really it's not at all. And so this is a special type of variable is what we've created. And so to take the text returned, we're going to say set text returned, or whatever variable you want to call it, to text returned, because this is the purple right here, of the result. And then let's display dialog text returned. And so text returned will be a string because this is a string. And so we're going to display that dialog because display dialog works where it wants a string after that. So now we're going to compile this and run this, and so we're going to put this hello there, and we run it, and then it displays the dialog that we just entered. Hello there. And so that's basically it for this time. If I wanted to do button returned, then I would just take this to button returned and see how this is turning out purple because it knows it's part of the string. So if I was going to go here and then button 1, it would show me I pressed button 1 because that's what text returned is being set to is the button returned of the result. And so that's basic display dialog right there. Display dialog is it's basically the only thing that you use for user input in Applescript. And so that's about it for this one. And of course, take a look at the other things in standard editions, mess around with them, see if you can make your own little scripts. Once again, if you have any questions, comments, or topics that you want me to go over, either send me a personal message at hackmack.org/forum or email me at joshfletcher@gmail.com, both of which are in the description below. Thank you.